Okay, let's jump right into this deep dive on Amos chapter 1.
Sounds good. Starts off pretty specifically, doesn't it?
Yeah, it mentions Amos from Tekoa, and these words concern Israel. It even gives a time frame 2 years before the earthquake, during Uzziah and Jeroboam's reigns.
Right, that really grounds it historically. And, well, it doesn't exactly ease you in.
No kidding. That opening line. The Lord roars from Zion and thunders from Jerusalem. Wow.
It's incredibly potent imagery, isn't it? Divine power centered right there, causing the land itself, like the pastures and even Mount Carmel, to just wither.
And it's striking how quickly it moves from that huge dramatic opening into these specific judgments against different nations.
hmm It sets up this pattern almost immediately.
With that phrase that just keeps coming back.
The one, for 3 sins, even for 4, I will not turn back my wrath. Yeah.
So what's the thinking behind that? Is it literally 3 or 4 things?
Well, the general interpretation, isn't usually a strict count. It's more like signifying fullness. Like the cup is overflowing, the limit's absolutely been reached.
Okay, so it's like saying, that's it, no more chances. Because they've crossed some kind of fundamental line.
Precisely. Judgment is now set,
Yeah.
and the text is very clear about what crossed the line for each nation.
Right, like Damascus first. The text talks about them threshing Gilead with sledges having iron teeth. Sounds incredibly brutal.
It really does. And the consequence laid out is just as severe: fire, destruction of leaders, exile, total devastation.
Matches the crime, you could say. Then it shifts geographically and maybe thematically to the Philistines, Gaza, and also Tyre.
Yeah, move south and north. And for Gaza and Tyre, the sin mentioned is different. It's about selling whole communities into slavery.
Whole communities. That's chilling, treating people like goods.
Exactly. And for Tyre, there's an added layer breaking a treaty of brotherhood. So violating trust on top of the enslavement.
And the judgment, similar.
Very similar. Fire, destruction, exile. That pattern holds.
Okay, so we're seeing specific, really harsh actions against others met with total destruction. Then comes Edom. Their sin feels a bit different, more internal, maybe.
It's described as pursuing his brother, which likely means Israel or Judah, relentlessly, with a sword, casting off all pity. Unchecked anger, unending fury.
So not just violence, but this complete lack of compassion or restraint towards essentially family.
Exactly. And again, the judgment is fire on their strongholds. What stands out is that persistent lack of mercy.
And the last one in this section is Ammon. There's particularly graphic.
It is, ripping open pregnant women in Gilead. And the text explicitly states the motive in order to extend his borders.
Just horrific atrocity for strategic gain.
And the judgment reflects that violence, fire, battle cries, storms, their king and officials heading into exile.
So stepping back and looking at the whole chapter, at least this first part, you see this clear structure.
Definitely. Nation after nation hits that 3 sins even before threshold.
Yeah, and it's always triggered by these specific, severe acts against others. We're talking extreme violence, mass enslavement, relentless cruelty, horrific acts for expansion.
And the result is consistently destruction, often by fire, loss of leadership, and exile. It's quite stark.
Looking at the bigger picture here, it feels like the text is setting out a kind of standard, a divine expectation for how nations should behave, especially towards others.
I think that's a key takeaway. It's not just about Israel's internal issues yet. It's laying groundwork about how these surrounding nations treat others, particularly the vulnerable, or how they conduct warfare. The sheer specificity of the sins is really noticeable.
It really is. It makes you pause and think, why these particular actions, not just general bad behavior, but these specific kinds of inhumanity, violence, slavery, cruelty, this unchecked anger.
That's a powerful question to sit with, and it leads directly to that final thought for you, the listener, to consider, circling back to that recurring phrase we talked about.
The 3 sins, even for 4.
Exactly. What does that specific pattern, combined with these particular offenses listed, suggest about what this text views as the absolute breaking point? The kind of actions that, according to Amos 1, trigger inevitable divine judgment.